Don't ask for much this Christmas. I won't even wish for snow. No, I'm just gonna keep on waiting underneath the mistletoe. There's no sense in hanging stockings there upon the fireplace, 'cause Santa, he won't make me happy with a toy on Christmas Day. See, I just want you here tonight, holding on to me so tight. Girl, what can I do? You know that all I want for Christmas is you. Welcome to the Tennis Sucks podcast.
Tennis fucking sucks. Good job, Clark. All right, pickleballers, welcome to this edition of the Tennis Sucks podcast. We are just coming back from Vegas where we had the premier draft. Graham, as usual, kind of butched things, left early, left the draft early, left the dinner early, and all to go, what was it? How much money did you make in that money ball?
I didn't make any money.
Okay,
so it was for charity, so I donated a lot of great money.
What?
It was half of it went to charity.
Oh, so half the money you made went to charity?
No, half the money that the tournament made went to charity.
So half the money you spent
Special
on
Olympics
me.
for pickleball.
That's definitely worth it, but I think you
trust
could
me,
have
I lost
stayed
a
in
lot more in
Vegas.
Vegas in the day and a half I was there.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. You also lost the opportunity for a great dinner, excellent evening on Friday night, a lot of pickleball content and chatter that you should have been there for, so I haven't quite forgiven you yet, but I will in due time.
All right.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you guys back. I think before we get into Vegas and everything that happened there for you guys, I kind of just want to I want to ask a little bit about, since I know very little about the pro pickleball scene, what's been going on with the PPA and the APP specifically. Like, what is this gold touring card that you know that all these pros are getting that you got, Trav?
Do you want to answer that, Graham, or you want me to?
I think you're better to answer that.
So the gold touring card is essentially a commitment that you make that you're going to be exclusive with the PPA Tour. You're going to play a minimum of 20 events on the PPA, not including 6 MLP events. So you're really dedicating yourself for 26 tournaments for the year. The perks of the card are pretty good. You get an appearance fee. They cover your entry fee. You get some help with a rental car. So I think it's
and
really
you make double MLP.
You make double prize money at everything.
Oh, even at the PPA.
Even at the PPA, everything is double prize money. So I think it really is a huge step forward for pickleball in the sense that almost everybody said yes. There's a few select, kind of half-namers, maybe outside of JW, that didn't sign that gold tour card. Outside of that, literally everybody signed that you would hope would sign. And
I didn't know JW didn't sign.
I think he signed the silver card, but not the gold.
What about Dylan?
I think he also signed the silver, not the gold.
Okay, so there's a handful of those.
There's a handful, right? But again, I would say that the lion's share, 95% of the players that you would want to see are on what is now very clearly the elite tour in pickleball, and it's great for pickleball because the people who signed that gold card can legitimately make a living, a good living at that, and feel like they're able to play pickleball full time, dedicate themselves. It will uplift the quality of the sport. So, they gave out quite a few gold tour cards.
How many? What's your guess on the number?
30?
Between men and women, or just men?
No, just men. I think it's men.
30 men?
30 men.
So 60 cards or 50 cards?
That's my guess. Yeah, right around there. Yeah. So Christian Alshon was drafted late in the Challenger League today, and he's a gold card member, but he's obviously not an extremely high gold card member at this point. Maybe they project that. But yeah, again, a great step forward for pickleball, a great step forward for the league. Really happy to see MLP tied in with the PPA, and you should have the best pickleball in the world right there.
What is the difference between gold and silver?
So a silver, you have to commit to 5 PPA events, which essentially...
No, that's not true anymore. They dropped that.
Did they?
If you sign a silver card, you have the right to play 5 events where you don't have to pay the entry fee, but you're not required to.
Oh,
they
really?
dropped that because too many APP players were complaining that they were having to commit to PPA and didn't want to commit.
But so they can still play MLP if they sign a silver card.
Correct.
They just can't play another team event.
You can play MLP without signing any cards. You
Okay,
just can't
fair
play
enough.
a team event.
But you can't play a team event.
If you sign a silver, then you get 5 free entries into 5 PPAs.
Got you. Okay.
But you're not required.
Gotcha.
to play the PPA.
Gotcha.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you for clarifying that, you guys. And what do you think, last thing on that subject, what do you think, where does the APP go from here? What's your guess on that?
They started a team event. I know for seniors. I'm not sure if they did it for people under 50, players under 50.
I think we've seen this in a lot of sports, you know, whether it be NBA, ABA, tennis tours. You had a professional league and an amateur league for a long time. You were really classified as a professional playing the amateur, to be honest, and you were doing money events to support yourself. I don't think this is abnormal, and I think my guess is that the APP will be far more focused on the recreational player, and PPA will be a lot more focused on the professional league, and that's how it will go moving forward.
That's not what they're saying publicly. Publicly, they're saying they're going to fight.
That's my guess.
And you never know. There's a chance that, you know, they come out with some amazing product this year, next year, the next 3 years, and they get a, you know, lion's share of the tour play. But we're putting obviously our money on the PPA and more specifically MLP, you know, to be the tour that players are going to want to play on in the future.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. Before we get into the meat of the draft and everything, what was your guys' overall opinion of the Bubly Team Championships?
Team Championship wasn't great, in my opinion. The format was weird to me as far as the rally scoring. Like, they did something weird with the serve where even at 1, you serve on the right side. And for me, it was tough to follow, you know, and I watch pickleball all day, every day. So then part 2, they stopped the scoring at 15. I never knew what meant anything or how things were going or, you know, where they were at in the draw. And watching the matches, like, yeah, I love team events, but there wasn't a lot of juice, you know. And coming from MLP where there's so much juice, I think that was the hope. With that said, insane venue, awesome courts, and I think the event has a ton of potential. I just think they got to, you know, maybe iron it out a little bit. Great to bring in the tennis players. Amazing to see Jack Sock, how nasty he was out of the gates. But you have to organize that, in my opinion, a little bit better so it doesn't feel like an exhibition. Like, to me, even some of the players looked lax and chill, and like it didn't really mean, like, it didn't mean much. And you got to have it matter. Like, it's got to look like it matters. The players got to be super invested in the outcome.
There probably wasn't any more money for the winner than the people who didn't win.
Exactly. It might have been purely appearance.
Money's only like 10% anyway, so...
No, I said that for MLP because that format, but this format was boring as hell.
But the venue was great. It was in Mandalay Bay. It was in the convention center downstairs, and they had maybe 20 courts. They were on pickle roll mats, which that was my first time playing like real pickleball on a pickle roll.
They held up well.
It was, yeah, it was neat. You know, the ball wasn't quite as fast, and maybe didn't bounce quite as high.
Sure.
But it muted the sound.
Yep.
So when you have 20 courts in an enclosed environment, it was actually pretty quiet. So that was a big difference. And if you wanted to dive for a ball, you weren't fearful of, you know, getting hurt because they're a little bit cushiony, those pickle rolls.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know people have a lot of questions about pickle roll. I mean, do you think for somebody that's looking to maybe put that in their backyard or something like that, you guys think that's a good option?
100%. I think it's a great option for like the driveway or just a parking lot or your backyard if you got a concrete pad.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it, to be honest, is go concrete pad and then put the pickle roll over it as opposed to a full construction. So if any of you are thinking about putting in a pickleball court at your house, check out the pickle roll. It's a huge savior. And from someone who built a tennis court in their backyard, which is the biggest nightmare ever, yeah, pickle roll would have been a nice alternative.
Yeah, okay, awesome, you guys. Which tennis pro was... Which tennis pro really stood out to you guys? Maybe exceeded what you thought they'd do?
It's not even close. Jack Sock would be the best player in the world in a very short period of time. And anyone who thinks otherwise needs to check the guy's stats. I mean, he legitimately is the best doubles player on the planet when he's healthy and playing. And his hand speed, his skill set is tailored to pickleball. I had the fortune to talk to him for a little bit, and the guy loves pickleball. Like, he's not just a tennis guy walking out. He plays a lot, and he's infatuated with the sport, wants to play a lot more, and I think is planning to play some PPA events this year. Talked to his current coach, Nick Monroe, his tennis coach, and I've known Nick since we were 12 years old. We actually used to play doubles together at that age. And he says a lot of times they're practicing all day, and Jack will rush off the court to make sure he goes to get 3-4 hours of pickle in at the end of the day. Like, the guy literally can't get enough. On day 1, for instance, when I see him, he's practicing in the morning. He has a match in the afternoon. I come back, he's practicing again. He never took a break. He played about 10 hours on day 1 just because he wanted to play, because he likes it so much. So he has a unique skill set as far as pure athleticism, hand speed, great feel, reads the play early, And I make the case for him that if he wanted to, he's the best player in the world very, very, very quickly.
That's I mean, I noticed that as well. I watched a little bit of it, and yeah.
And then if you had to rate it, I think Sam second.
Who's better in
Isner
singles?
and John.
Query or sock?
Jack got higher, so Jack got to 8 in the world. I want to say in 2017. End of 2017, Jack got to 8 in the world, and then kind of shuffled off. Sam, I think, has been more consistent. Sam is stuck around. You know, he's been a perennial guy in the top 30 for 30, 40, 8 years. You know, he was always right around there. So I'd say Sam has been more consistent. Jack is just a more talented, more freakish kind of athlete. Things come really, really easy to that guy.
Has your opinion changed from the very first episode about Sam specifically? I don't know if you recall what you said. But
no,
yeah,
my assessment is spot on. Top 10, especially in the time frame that he was mentioning, is not feasible. And I think that was clear even in the draft that the Premier Leagues, nobody took him. Now, one, he's a wild card, but you know it's still a drawing value to your team. His game just doesn't translate as well. Is he going to be good? Look, no doubt, the guy's going to be really good, and he's going to get better and better, but he's going to have to apply himself and put in a lot of time, and I don't think he's really willing to put in as much time as he's going to need to have the results that he thinks he's going to have. There's a lot of good players. Guys are good at this dinking, you know, deceptive little game, and I think maybe he's the 35th or 45th best guy in 3 months, not now.
Yeah, okay. Well, moving on, I think you guys can offer a really unique perspective being team owners to the draft and everything, and I think it'll be really cool for listeners and me to hear it, kind of what went on behind the scenes. But before we get into the real meat of it, what was your opinion of just the overall draft experience, like the live draft in Vegas?
Go ahead, Graham.
I thought it was really professional. It felt like maybe like an NHL draft. Tennis Channel put it on. It was also down in the convention center of Mandalay Bay. We actually sat next to the owner of Tennis Channel.
I believe so.
Who was really excited about it and proud of what he had put out. I think they spent months preparing it. I don't know. I think people have to tell us because we didn't see it on TV, but from what we could see, it felt like it translated well. The biggest complaint I heard was maybe a little too much talking on the LA studio.
Commentators.
A little too much commentating.
A little sus.
It took a little longer than it probably should have, and a lot of similar comments, overly positive.
Right.
Which we understand. Tennis Channel's that way. They only talk, no criticism, only positive remarks. But maybe a little long, a little wordy, and you need some criticism in there. You got to say
you got to
say, like Colin Johns is a right side specialist. You can say that. I mean, he knows it.
He knows it right away.
Jessie Irvin doesn't play singles. How's she going to be in singles?
Right, which they asked her, and she did have a good response. She's like, I'm going to train for it. I'm going to surprise some people. But yeah, I think in the commentary from the booth, you need to say, and we drafted her. We think she's going to be great in singles, but you have to say that it's a huge concern. Maybe why the skill set doesn't apply as well. Like for instance, she plays super flat. I think that's a detriment to her in singles, but maybe she'll use it well. Maybe she'll be able to feel the ball around and use her feet and be good. But yeah, I didn't see much edge. So the only negative that I would say from the commentary perspective, or even from the players' responses, is there was nothing outside, peaches and bubblegum. And just for my personality, I want to hear what you really think.
But that's the case of all drafts, so it's not as if we're unique in
that.
No,
of course not.
The NBA talking
There's
about.
There's very few people who say it straight in those particular situations.
Right.
But there are some, and those are the guys that at least I'm drawn to because it's like, okay, the guy's real. He's keeping it 100, whatever you want to classify it as.
Yeah.
Yeah, I second that. I did watch the stream on YouTube, and I felt that way. I think the edgiest it got was when Hannah, I can't remember who she was interviewing.
Yeah, she was big
ass backhand.
Big ass backhand. That was a good moment.
That was good
we
for
all
her.
laughed pretty hard
happy.
there.
That was great. So yeah, why don't you guys now just kind of dive into why you picked who you did and how exactly the whole draft process worked, right? Because you initially picked on Monday. Correct? Yeah, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Monday afternoon is when we drafted. That would have been, I don't remember the date now, the 12th maybe.
Okay.
And then it was revealed on the 15th. And how did it go? We had in mind players that we wanted to draft. We had a whole list. I think we probably went down.
I think we prepared really well.
We went down maybe 8 or 10 spots for each sex. So if we had 10 women on our list for picking 2 women, and 10 men on our list for picking 2 men.
And we specialized them, which I don't think many did. We specialized it right side to left side to see who would be available to play with, our dominant player or our, because no matter what you play in pickle, there's always an alpha and a beta, and it has to be that way. So if you have, 2 specialists that are, left side and they're really athletic and really dominant, you move one to the right and it can be very, very awkward because suddenly they get stagnant. So we were really adamant about trying to dot our I's and cross our T's and be really diligent about the picking process.
Yeah, so, we had the list and some players got picked. We didn't think it would go the way it did.
No.
The first 7 we're the 8th pick overall, right?
Crazy.
Which is not the greatest spot in our opinion. It's probably the 3rd or 4th worst spot to pick from. Travis
I liked it.
But there's better spots. Come on. We could have had a better team at a different spot.
I don't agree with that.
Really? You think 8 was the best spot? You want it again?
Yeah, I'd take that. I think between like 5 and 9 is a great spot to be in. Huh. I like it a lot.
I would have liked 11, 12.
That's good too. I'll take those. I actually think the top picks are not the best squads. Yeah, I think if you go below 6 or 7, now granted, it was weird because we were surprised how many men were taken early. Our strategy was pretty simple in that we think there's such a large disparity in the women that we were going to take 2 women right away no matter what and ensure that we got a strong women's team, which we did with Georgia and Jessie. That's a powerhouse. The wild card on our team is myself and Colin. So we're going to see how we perform. But we saw Riley go early, which we thought was surprising, especially given that he's out the first event. We saw Jay DeVilliers go relatively early. What did he go, 10th? Maybe earlier than that.
Yeah,
7th to Cabo Vamos.
He went high.
Which we know that they have a personal affiliation with him. They really like him apparently as a great guy, and Jay is. So I don't blame him. He's also a great player, but I don't think that spot is warranted for him. But yeah, again, our strategy was 2 women early, and then 2 men.
Yeah, and so we had a couple people. We talked it over, and we thought, how can we pass on Jessie?
Yeah.
As our first round. She plays at the highest level. She wins medals on the regular. She's athletic. She's a rock.
Super tenacious. I love her attitude and mentality. She performs well week in, week out, and she's not feisty in the sense like I'm feisty, like yelling at you, but you can see she's competing every point. She's never giving in and like having a bad attitude. It doesn't happen.
And one of her remarks during the draft, because what happens in the draft is you pick your number 1 overall pick for your team, and then you get on the phone with that player, and they help you with the rest of the draft. So it's Travis and I in the war room, we call it. And then we pick Jessie, and then we get on the phone with Jessie, and we say, okay, here's what we're thinking.
Who do you want to play with?
What do you think? Who do you want to play with? And time and again, her words were, when it got down to 2 choices, and back and forth, tough choice, she would say, I just want to win.
Yep.
And that's we're just like, okay, that's what we want to hear.
Yep. Over and over.
She doesn't care who her partner is.
Yep. Doesn't care if she likes them. She doesn't care
if she likes them, if she thinks they're maybe not the better player. Regardless of who it is, she's going to win. And that's what her mentality is. And that, that got us excited in the draft.
I loved how much she had a very strong opinion over and over. Like, she made our job a lot easier. For instance, when it came to Georgia, we were with Georgia and a few others who are great players who might even be stated as better than Georgia. And her comment was, because Georgia's so young, we think she's improving at a faster rate than the other girls who might be, mid-20s. And we also know, playing Georgia from last year's MLP, the girl is a feisty competitor, and she plays great in MLP. She competes really well, especially when it's on the line. And so, our information that we had on her, and then Jessie's kind of feeling that she's going to continue to improve, and really respected her as a left side player in particular, it worked out great.
Yeah, and you guys had your eye on Georgia for a while now,
always,
right?
Yeah, I love Georgia. I mean, to me, you can make an argument that she's a top 3-4 female. She plays with Anna Bright all the time. They do really well. She plays against Anna Bright with Vivian David, beats them consistently. Vivian and Georgia were on our list as 2 of our top favorite females, just because we never thought Jessie would be there when we got down, and then when she was, it was like, damn, well, we got to take Jessie.
And to get Georgia 2nd round is, I think, huge as well. We're not upset.
Ridiculous.
At all.
Yeah.
That made a lot of sense for us. And she's from Florida. We know her family, now, a lot of things. And she's, tenacious. She's a killer. She's a shark. So we want that.
Yeah, she's definitely the better Johnson. By far the better Johnson. Substantial upgrade from JW. Just win is no longer the case. It's Georgia, baby.
Georgia wins is what,
Georgia
what
wins.
JW stands for now.
Yeah, exactly. Love it.
Well, it's a solid team, and I was really excited when you guys picked Jessie as well, because I mean, she's aside from being a great player, she's so recognizable with the space buns. You know what I mean? She's always got in, and yeah, so it's awesome. Who do you think? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but who was kind of the biggest shock, like as far as like who was picked in that top 10 to you guys? Was it Jay?
Jay was at least in my opinion, was the biggest shock. Anna going as high as she did, I think, was a little bit surprising, but not really surprising, because she's really good
for this event.
Yes,
she has everything, and she's got it all.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of a player for MLP, a female, I mean, you're thinking about Anna Lee and
I'm really curious
Anna
how Callie is going to do, because she was picked really early also, and I don't think lately with Lucy or with AJ, she's had the best results. So I think that was kind of based like a legacy pick. Well, she's had great results in the past. And I'll be curious to see if she performs well in this event.
But there's definitely an advantage to playing with people you've played with in the past, because they walk in with chemistry. So they have a leg up on you right away.
So the team that has...
the Kawamotos are on a team together.
Right, and then there's a team that has both Newmans. And then you got AJ and
then Callie and Lucy together.
Yep.
I think the biggest shock for me was actually on our team was seeing Colin go to fourth round, late fourth round, and he wasn't even on our radar. We didn't have him on a list.
No.
Oh, really? Okay.
We never thought he was getting there.
His brother Ben Johns had the pick before us and needed a guy, and so we thought, okay, there goes Colin. And we could not believe that didn't happen, that he was still around, and we had to sit there again with Jesse and say, does Colin make sense? I mean, this is the number 3 overall male player in the world right now.
Right.
3rd highest duper in the world.
And you've got to say probably arguably the best right side player, but he needs someone that is hyper aggressive, and hopefully I can fill that role. But I'm definitely going to have to listen to him, because he wins a lot. Simple.
But now that we've made the pick and we have more time to sit on it, we're getting more and more excited. And I think Colin's excited.
I think he's really excited.
That guy, he's juiced.
Especially watching him play this weekend. Like, he played the left a fair bit with Pat Smith, and then in mixed, and he played very, very well from that side.
Yeah, because we saw him in Vegas, and he couldn't be more excited to be on the team and playing with us. And I think Travis and Colin are probably going to be the best male team out there. I know we're a little biased, but one of the best.
One of the best.
And then Jesse and Travis,
There's some good male teams.
Are going to be one of the best also. And then Georgia and Jesse are going to be one of the best. So we've got a really solid team. And then, having Colin and Georgia on a team, you're not gonna do bad. That's for sure. And I think we're all going to be better in singles than people think we're going to be. I think Colin is going to shock people how
Colin's
good at
really good in
singles
singles, I think. Look, the guy was 900 in the world, I believe, was his ATP singles ranking. If you've played that level in singles and then hit enough pickleballs, you're going to be good at it.
Right.
You're definitely not going to be a dud.
And I'm being told he used to play singles. He was a top 10 guy in the world and actually beat his brother in a match or two.
I do remember that.
So
I've heard that.
I mean, if that's the case and that shows up, look out.
Yeah, look out.
But
yeah, no, 100%. Who do you think, aside from the Smash, is the most well-rounded team? I mean, who are you guys really worried about?
Let me go through this. I mean, they had like the Mashers. So Dink Pickleball, I think, rated the Mashers as the top team, which was, let me get this one, which was DJ, Diescu, Callie, Joe, and Lucy Kovalova. I honestly think they're going to do terrible.
You do?
I do.
They have the highest duper.
Don't care.
That doesn't
mean anything to me.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do great. I just think, again, a lot of that's legacy play. I don't think Andre and DJ are going to perform well. I mean, of course they can. They're obviously very, very good players. But are they going to perform well on a consistent basis? I'm not sure about that. Of course, Lucy and Callie are a great team. I just don't think they've performed very well lately. And if I had to put my money down and I have Georgia and Jesse against Lucy and Callie, I take Georgia Jesse every day. Just based on the fact of their firepower and like their ability. So that's the top-rated team by Duper.
Here's my top 2 picks, I think.
Okay.
I haven't looked over it enough, but the New Jersey Fives, I think, are going to be tough.
They're going to be very good.
So
don't sleep on Hayden Patrick. The kid's good.
Yeah, they got Anna Lee Waters, right? That's a no-brainer. Leia.
Oh, and Leia, I watched her in Vegas. I'm telling you, like, thank God I'm playing mixed with her. She was playing insane. Leia was playing so well.
They got Leia, and then they have James and Hayden Patrick Quinn, and who all those players are currently on the rise. That's why you're
Right,
like, okay,
exactly.
not only are they good now, they're probably going to be even better as the year goes on. And the other one that I'm really high on is the New York Hustlers. And I think the New Jersey Fives probably comes down to their men, how their men perform, Hayden and Ignatowicz. And then the New York Hustlers are solid to me as well. Anna Bright, Tyson McGuffin, Rafa Hewitt, is a dog when he plays MLP. And then Lacey Schneeman, who we played with, who also has a very high level potential. Those are my two. I'm just telling you.
I don't think that's a top fiver. Personal.
Really?
No.
I'll bet on that.
Okay.
All day.
All day, baby. Let's take that bet right now.
They're top 5 for sure.
They are definitely not.
Yeah.
Okay. The team that's going to be top 5 without question, maybe other than the first event, is the SoCal Hard Eights. They got Mary Brasha, Lindsay Newman, Riley Newman, and AJ Kohler. 3 of these teams play together all the time, which is Kohler, Newman, Riley, and then the 2 Newmans. So I guess 2 of them. But Mary is very, very solid. She's going to play well with AJ. And, to me, when you have Riley and AJ together, they're going to be very, very solid in men's. The only issue they have is if it comes down to singles, then they're going to struggle a little bit because neither Newman, I don't think their game styles are going to be very solid in singles. But that's a team that I think is going to be very good.
Wrong. As usual, wrong. Like NML. It's probably an NML pick right there.
I don't even know what they said. All they've told me is...
But all the teams are good, I think, and I think this season and this year is going to be some insane pickleball to be watching, at home or on the sidelines.
The teams are insane. It's very hard to pick it right now. There's a lot of quality. When you go down the list.
It's going to be wild. It's going to be a wild year.
Nuts, man.
There's no better pickleball to watch than these events.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
On that note, can you just kind of give a breakdown of what the format looks like? So I understand it's broken up basically into 2 halves, right, of 2023. Like each year would be 2 halves. And then you have, it's kind of like how they do soccer over in Europe, right? You have the Premier and then you have the Challenger League, correct? And then is it the bottom 1 or 2 teams that can basically be relegated?
So there's 24 teams total, 12 teams in Premier, 12 teams in Challenger. They all play at the same time. So we play, our first event is in Mesa, Arizona. It's on January 26th. The 12 Premier teams will play against each other, and then the 12 Challenger teams will play against each other in the same venue at the same time. And after 3 events, so that's 1 event in Mesa, Arizona. The next one's in Daytona, Florida at Pictona in March. And then I think the 3rd one's out in California, I want to say.
That sounds
Maybe
right.
at San Clemente.
That sounds right. Yep.
Okay. And then there will be a championship that follows on that Sunday for the season, the whole half year, let's call it. There'll be a Premier champion, there'll be a Challenger champion. Then all the teams will switch. And so like Florida Smash is playing in Premier for the first half of the year, we'll be playing in the Challenger the second half of the year.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So there'll be a little bit of a second draft coming up in a few months.
There'll be a second whole draft in the summer. And
every team will redraft again.
And they'll redraft. And most likely it'll be similar players, but just on new teams, right? It'll be the same, probably 48, give or take 5 or 6 people. On the 12 teams that are playing Challenger first will then now play Premier, and they'll get all the top picks first. And then like Florida Smash will be in the Challenger at the second half of the year, and we'll choose from the next 24 players down, the 24 to the 48, male and female.
So everybody in Premier in the second half of the year goes down to Challenger.
Correct.
Team-wise, not players. The players will always be in Premier.
Yeah.
Like Ben Johns and Anna Lee Waters will always play in the Premier League. They'll just play for Florida Smash in the Premier, and then they'll play for whomever, some other team.
Brooklyn Aces.
What's that?
The Brooklyn squad.
The Brooklyn Aces in Premier the second half of the year.
Okay.
And then there'll be a championship in December at the end of the year, same thing. And then what happens is they take basically how you finished in all 6 events, both Premier and Challenger. They tally that up, and the top 12 or so or 16 teams will play in Premier for all of 2024. So in both leagues, you're playing to play Premier next year.
Yeah, it's very important to
so
place
it's
well.
really important that we do well in both,
Okay.
and we do well all year because we want to be one of those top 12 teams that plays Premier for all of 2024.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a really big deal to us.
Okay.
To us.
So when you have these championship events at the end of each term, I guess, or whatever they call it, is it like point leaders going into the championship, or is it a clean slate going into the championship event, and then is there a purse, I guess, for that specific event, or how does that work?
Yeah,
Prize money and
so
whatnot?
from what we understand, it's about $5 million in prize money for the Premier division, And then I think there's, I want to say maybe close to 2 million for the Challenger. And yes, there will be the third event of each season, each half year will have a prize pool, and then there'll be a championship prize pool as well for that Sunday of that third event. I'm not exactly sure. Do we play? So it'll basically take, like, say we got, I don't know, second place, then fourth place, and then eighth place. You know, they would take the average of that. You're getting points for every position, right? And then if you're in the top, whatever it is, 6 teams, and after that third, you go to a playoff on the Sunday. You know, 2 teams will probably get a bye, 2 teams will play in the semis, and then, or in the quarters, then, you know, semis, and then finals.
I'm not 100% sure on the
But
format.
we're not 100% sure on that. That's just what I'm guessing the format's going to be, and that'll happen twice this year. Once at the end of the first 3 events, and once at the end of the 6th event.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said 2024 will be 16 teams that will play in the Premier.
I'm guessing because my gut tells me we're going to probably sell a couple more teams in 2024, maybe 4 more teams, get it to 28 or 30. And so half of them will play Premier for the entire season. And so that might be 12 teams, it might be 14 teams, it might be 16, somewhere in that ballpark will play Premier. And then the other half will play Challenger for all 2024 with the opportunity to move up or down for the following year, like a relegation.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, thanks for clarifying that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's confusing. It was tough.
Yeah,
We added a lot of
it is.
teams. There was a merge. There's a lot going on. They're just trying to provide the best product possible, and we're really looking to the future and working out the kinks now so that 2-3 years from now we have this locked down for an amazing product and incredible pickleball.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
nonetheless, whatever the format is, you know you're going to get great pickleball every time you tune in, good energy and a lot of juice.
Yeah,
No question.
I'm excited about that.
The prize pools are huge, and they're doubled now for everyone that's a gold card member, which is
Mayhem.
insane to think.
Yeah.
You're basically taking $5 million and doubling it, which that's crazy. It's
a lot of dough.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
money. I mean,
No,
we're
that's
talking
huge.
real money now.
That's huge for the sport. Lastly, I think we just want to kind of touch on some of the biggest names that weren't in the draft, specifically Parris Todd. Do you guys have any insider info on that? What
Sure
exactly
do.
happened?
You do?
Of course I do.
Okay. For sure, or guesses?
It's for sure.
Okay, I want to hear this.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. I won't give numbers, but apparently she was holding out. You know, I'm a fan of Parris. I think she's a really nice girl, but I also think that she has achieved a lot in the sport very early, and maybe her sense of importance in the sport is very, very high. I think she overvalued that personally. And she was asking for a lot more money than MLP was willing to pay as an appearance fee for her to essentially stay with the league. And they called her bluff. They ultimately said, no, that's too much. And I guess the sad thing is obviously you won't see Parris in there. The good news is you won't miss her. There's so many players and there's so many girls coming in. Like, am I not going to tune in? Because of course I'm going to tune in. So I think she made a mistake. Maybe it works out for her financially. Obviously, Jamie Foxx is starting a league called the Pickleball Entertainment League. It's not going to be the best pickleball, but it might be entertaining. And I'm sure she's going to sign a big contract with them. You know, maybe she'll sign something for $200,000 or something like that just to play. And
But you're eligible to play in that too, right? Oh, if it's a team event, you couldn't.
no, I can't play. And that's the point, is like, who's going to be in it? And how is it entertaining if the pickleball sucks? Because I don't know if you ever watched something where they put in celebrities or low-level pickleball. It doesn't really.
Some of the Bubly got that way.
Yeah, it doesn't
wasn't-
really equate to
And
really
they're not
good
even that
viewing.
bad. Sam
No,
Querrey
of
and those
course
guys
not.
are
They're
good
very
players, and
good.
it still wasn't as
They're very
exciting
good.
as watching
Right.
MLP.
Right. So maybe she did the right thing for her. I personally don't think she did. I think it was a power play that she made, and I think she has to be really, really clear that over the next 3 to 4 years, there's going to be 40 Parris Todds and girls that are coming up that have a much higher skill set than her in tennis, that were ranked a lot higher, and that, you know, maybe that's what she's doing. Maybe she's trying to strike while the iron's hot. But I think you want to be where the best players play. I think that's how you build your brand, you build your credibility. And I hope we see her back in the league soon, because obviously she's an asset to it. But
Do you think if she
but
say
not of
she
that kind of value.
changes her mind in, I don't know,
3 months?
February, do they let her come in as an alternate?
Sure.
They do?
I think so.
They say, hey, yeah, we want you
Yeah,
in.
of course. Of course, we want the best players in the league. You know, we can put
Do you think
bygones
that'll
aside.
happen? Think that'll happen?
I think it depends on what she gets offered from from Jamie
Oh
Foxx's
yeah, because she's going to sign
side.
something.
And I think she's really adamant about playing less and maximizing her career, and I respect that. I think it's true to some extent, and I think, again, she wants to make as much money as she can while her namesake is big. For instance, if you went to the Nationals and you went to the Selkirk tent, there were huge posters of Parris Todd. She's a name in the sport right now. I just don't think that you're going to see the same disparity in the women's game that you see right now. So my guess is, just as happened on the men's side, you're going to see a lot of women that were 200 in the world WTA shifting over again in the next 3 to 4 years, and they're going to be nasty. I mean, Parris is a great example. Parris had played for, what, a year? Came out in San Clemente and beat Annalie Waters in singles. Like, you don't think a girl that's, let's just say again, 150 WTA, who plays for a year, is going to beat those girls? I think she is. Like, maybe not all of them, but some of them are going to have that skill set where they're really, really good, really, really early. So I hope Parris sees that, is aware of it. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. And I hope to see her back in MLP soon.
Same. Yeah, Parris, we love you.
We love you. Yeah. You're a great player. You bring great energy to the league. And, just as someone who's practiced with you a few times, kind of a friend of you, a fan of you, we want to see you play against the best players. Don't old man advice. Don't sell out for a few bucks to play against some celebrity in LA for what? For why? For why?
Yeah.
Build the sport.
Other than Parris, were there any other big names that I'm forgetting right now that also opted out?
Not that I can think of.
Well,
I think
today.
Well, yeah, Saloma Davide in the Challenger League, but come on, man, you're talking Parris and Saloma. That's not.
Oh,
that's
as
not
big
the
as
same.
Parris.
Yeah, there's no big names that opted other than Parris. Everyone else was in the draft.
Yes.
We were surprised. There was a few players. I'm sorry, Riley I think went 4th or 5th. JW went 3rd. Again, that surprised us just because we thought people would take women early. But no, to answer your question, Rowan.
No, I think she's the only one.
Yeah, she's the only one.
So it's kind of neat to see an example of it, in all honesty. Like, I'm going to be watching to see what Parris does, where she's playing, how she's,
Yeah, I mean,
no
she's not
question.
gonna struggle.
No question.
She's
The field is cleared for her. You know, like but she's on an island. Who is she playing?
Right,
For sure, because she also didn't sign a gold touring card either.
No, she did not.
Okay.
She didn't sign a gold card. I don't know if she'll even play on the PPA. She might play exclusively on the APP next year. And if that's the case, whether like 3 girls that are competitive with her, somewhat competitive, I don't think that's great for her or the sport. I think people will get bored of it quickly. Again, big fan of Parris. Got to play where the best players play, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you think, I mean, she has obviously posted quite a bit on her Instagram and stuff, like hanging out with Jamie Foxx at his the best paddle compound and all that stuff.
I'm speculating.
Yeah, do you think if he wasn't in the picture, she probably would have been in the draft? And
that's a good
without his
question.
league,
I don't know. I think no matter what, she had a sense of what her value to the league was worth. I just think she overvalued it. But yeah, maybe if Jamie wasn't there as kind of like a backstop, then she comes down quite a bit. But there's other instances of players who were holding out, and literally everyone that was holding out ultimately signed because they weren't going to get much from the other side, whether that's APP or professional entertainment league or pickleball entertainment league.
And when we say Parris, it's also her agent. It's not just Parris.
Yes, of course.
There's a middleman or a third party there that's also part of this process. It's not direct communication all the time. So I don't know if we can even fully put it on Parris.
Yeah.
Right. No, you can't. I mean, look, and again, she's doing what she thinks is right for her.
Yeah,
So
and
I wish her well.
Let's not get it wrong.
No,
we may look in 6 months now and say,
but define what's right.
Genius.
Like financially, it might be Financially, it might be genius for the betterment of the sport and purely for competitive pickleball. Yeah, it's not the best option.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not the best option. But yeah, she might make a fortune. She might be like the Matt Manasseh of the Celebrity Players League and just take this over. Who knows? But yeah, you want to see her play Anna Lee. You want to see her play against Anna Bright, and that's not going to happen now.
Yeah. No. Well, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, and that's everything, you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Rowan.
Insightful
Tennis
as
sucks.
always.
Don't ever play it. Play pickleball.